Andy.
And I'm Rich.
And welcome to Get Gaming, the channel by two gamers with a Y for
Gamers with or without a Y.
That's exactly right. And today, we have a very exciting playthrough for you. This is a game that we've been talking about literally since we started the channel. And we're very excited to present, as far as I know, the first two-player playthrough of this on YouTube. Stonewall Uprising, designed by Taylor Chess and published by Catastrophe Games. This game is all about the gay civil rights movement. So this is a two-player asymmetric tug-of-war game with a lot of deck building. So let's get going. So we're going to do a teach, followed by our two-player playthrough, and then a review at the end. So without further ado, let's get down into the trenches of gay civil rights. So here we are set up for a two-player game of Stonewall Uprising. And so one of us is going to be playing as Pride, aka the gay civil rights movement as a whole, and the other person is going to be playing as the Man, which represents the forces of systemic oppression that are keeping gay people down. Each have our starter deck, which lives here, and then we'll have a place for our discard, and then we have a little reminder here about folding, which we'll explain when we get into the structure of the round. We also each have our own personal market board, and these are cards we'll have access to. The game takes place over 3 decades, the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So at the start of the game, we'll have access to cards for the 60s, and throughout the game, we'll gain access to other cards as we go through the decades. Over here is the main board where a lot of the action is going to be happening. So we have 3 different tracks, well, 5 different tracks, technically. So this Aid Stuffs track will only come into play in the 80s, so we'll cover that later. For Pride, their main win condition in this game, what they're going to be trying to do, they're going to be trying to manipulate this Overton window and gaining dice. So every time they roll the dice, they're trying to get a number that is equal to or exceeds the Overton window. That is their win condition. So they start at 30. And so throughout the game, this is going to be going up and down. And so Pride really wants it to get as low as possible so that when they roll their dice, which they'll be gaining throughout the game, that they can exceed the Overton window. And the Overton window is basically a concept about cultural acceptance, right?
Yeah, it's a political science idea that is the admissibility of certain things for public conversation. And at one time, obviously, being gay wouldn't have been something that would have been considered, good conversation.
Right. It's the threshold of acceptability, essentially. So, how are you going to move the Overton window, and how is the Man going to win? The Man has a couple of different win conditions, but the most important one refers to detaining and demoralizing people, which is down here along with our event track. So you'll notice on the 3 tracks here that we have different end zones for each side. So this is Pride's side on their end zone, and this is the Man side on this end zone. So throughout the game, we're going to be playing cards from our hand in order to move these cubes in one direction or the other. Anytime the Man plays a card for its number in the left-hand corner, they're going to be moving that color cube that number. That's basically how that works. And when they get into their end zone, they'll resolve the effect before any card text that might be on the card in addition. So if I get here in the end zone, I'm going to move the Overton window up by 1, which is going to make it harder for Pride to get their win condition. Conversely, if Pride moves their end zone along this track, they're going to gain die, different die here, either D4s, D6s, D8s, or D10s. And so every time they gain a die, they're going to roll all their current dice pool to see if they can get a number that's going to exceed the Overton window. And then in the 80s, the start token will be added, and there'll be cards that will move this start token along here, which basically means every time you go into an end zone, you'll always, after you resolve the event, you'll snap it back to the start. But if you move this start token, obviously you're snapping back to wherever the start token is. So it just kind of moves the goalpost closer to you for Pride. So that's public support. So let's go to systemic support now. This one is pretty straightforward, and this has to do with detaining and undetaining people. So when the Man gets into his end zone, he's going to be detaining a certain number of people as printed here. So when you detain someone, you're essentially sending the activists to prison. So when I detain someone, Rich is going to have to look through his discard and choose a card or a person, basically.
I'm just going to move some over here pretending they...
And they're going to place them here in this rainbow jail. Now, once they're there, they're out of play, but there are ways that he will be able to undetain them, either using cards or getting into his end zone on that track, which will allow him to then take those cards back. However, if they're demoralized, then they are out of the game. He can never get them back. And so how do I demoralize them? Well, that's moving this green track here in addition to other card text, which may allow me to do such things. So for individual support, if it gets into my end zone, I'm going to take some detained people and demoralize them, moving them out of play permanently.
And one of the, I believe, conditions for the man to win is if you demoralize 10 people.
Yeah, so if I ever demoralize 10 people, that's my main win condition. Conversely, now on this side, if Pride moves into the end zone on individual support, they will move the Overton window down by a certain number. So like say 3 or 5 or whatever it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that helps them not only get closer to their win condition, but if they move past these spots here, they will be able to activate these deck thin tokens, which means I will be forced to discard a card permanently from my deck and out of the game. So that's kind of meant to sort of thin out my deck and slow me down. Anytime that you get into an end zone, you'll also be triggering an event. That's considered to be an event in the game. And once you've resolved the end zone effect and you've snapped it back, you'll then add one of your tokens to the event track, flipping it to whichever side applies to either Pride or the man. And so there will be 3 events before the 60s ends and 5 events for the 70s and 80s. So once this event track is full, we will finish the round, and we'll go over the round structure in a second, and then we'll resolve the event before moving on. And so what that means is that we will remove all the rest of the cards from this decade, so we won't be able to buy those cards anymore. And then whoever has the majority will be able to play one of their special event cards from these stacks over here for each decade. So only one of us will be able to play that card. So
if it was like this, then Andy would be flipping one of those. And if it looked like this, then I would be flipping one of these cards.
So 3 or 5 are both prime numbers, so you will never have a tie or anything like that. And these event cards are generally positive or negative things, depending who you are. So on each event card, you'll have an immediate effect, and then you'll have an ongoing effect going into the next decade. So this one says, at the beginning of each round this decade, which means in the 70s, the next decade going forward, if I have all 3 of my law tokens on the board, I will get to draw a card. And I will also remove a law token from the board when I do that. So let's talk about law tokens. So the man has access to these law tokens. Basically, these are things I'll be able to place on 2 unoccupied spaces on the board. So obviously, if a cube is there, I can't place it over that. And the start spaces are also considered blocked. So I'd be able to do something like this. Then anytime the cube lands on one of those 2 spaces, and it has to land on it, not just pass over it, I will get one of these special effects, which generally are things like draw a card for blue triangles. I will get to remove a card from my deck or discard pile with the purple hexagons. And that's something that could be useful if I have a bunch of 1s clogging up my deck and I'm trying to curate things a little bit. And then the orange diamonds will allow me to demoralize a person, which will get me closer to my win condition. So the law tokens can be very useful. However, Pride also has certain cards which refer to law tokens, so it might potentially give them some benefits when they're playing certain cards. So you have to keep that in mind when playing law tokens. So let's go over the basic structure of the round. So at the start of your turn, you will draw 5 cards. And then in turn order, we will each play a card one at a time until we decide to fold. And again, we are playing the card for its value to move these cubes along these tracks towards our side, whatever the number is. And we'll do that until we decide to fold. So now this is where things get tricky. So whenever somebody folds, their opponent's cards will be doubled in value. So if I fold first and Rich plays like a 2, that will now be considered a 4 for purposes of moving on this track. And that would put him into an end zone. So that would be probably not a good thing for me to do.
The only problem for me would be that if I do this, and if I choose to do that, he can take one of these. For every card that I play after he folds, he gets one of these, which gives him an extra card in the next round.
Mm-hmm.
No, if I had folded and he decided to play some cards, then for every card he played, I would put one of these tokens on him. It gives me an extra card.
And it should be noted, just because you run out of cards does not double the other person's last card. It's only if you decide to fold before you run out of cards that your opponent's values will be doubled. So if you basically just run through all your cards, nothing happens. It's not considered folding. Right. So why would you not play all the cards out of your hand? Well, these are technically multi-use cards. Instead of using the number to move the tracks, we can save these as money to buy new cards during the market phase. Now, before you move to the market phase, you always want to check and see if the event track is full, because you will always resolve the event track before you move on to the market phase. So if we trigger the end of a decade in a round, we will not be able then to buy cards for that decade at the end of that round, if that makes sense. So the way that buying cards works, again, we're just adding up the numbers on our card, and that is the amount of money we'll have to spend. We can never carry this value over into the next round, so if you don't use it, you lose it. Mm-hmm. So if I had 3 here, I would be able to buy, say, this card, Police Brutality, which would allow me to detain people, which would be helpful. Now, if I use 2 cards or less to buy a card, and it's the cards you have to buy total. So like if I had 3 cards and I use these 2 to buy 3, I don't get to put it on top of my deck like I would with just using 2 cards to buy. I have to have only saved 2 cards in order to be able to keep it on top of my deck. Otherwise, it goes into the discard. And then you'll reshuffle and redeal. And if your opponent had folded and you have plus tokens, you will add that to how much you're drawing in the next round. So in this case, I would draw 6. And anytime, like in other deck building games, I don't have enough cards to draw my hand up, I will then reshuffle my discard. And then you will pass the first player token, and it will go like that until we've gone through all 3 decades and gotten to one of our win conditions. So important to note, when you get to the 80s, additionally, you'll be moving this aid step marker, and there will be additional numbers on the man's 80s cards, which every time they buy a card in the 80s, they'll generally be moving up that aid step tracker.
You can point out.
So an 80s card would look something like this, lack of blood testing. So this has a number for the value and also a number for the aid step. Now, bumping the aid step track up in and of itself does not immediately trigger the end of the game. However, there are a few cards that the man can play that might have an additional trigger condition. Die in the streets, specifically. So if the aid step track is at 8 or more, and then I play this card, that will be an immediate win for me. Mm-hmm. There's also an event card for the 80s. So when you do the event, you have 3 cards that you're going to be randomly shuffling and picking one, so you don't get to pick which event you're going to play. It is randomized. So if the man had just been lucky enough to pull this card at the end of the 80s, aid step takes its toll. This has an immediate effect, which is demoralizing people, but also has an ongoing trigger, which is if aid steps is ever at 6 or more, you just automatically win the game. So if you get to the 80s and you had the majority on the event track and you luckily pulled this card, it's probably going to be a pretty swift end for Pride. Mm-hmm. Which is why you're not allowed to root through those things to find the one that's
unless
best
you're
for you.
Pride, and then it's okay.
That's right. And one more rule before we get started is for Pride, they have certain cards which will allow them to use these retaliation dice, which are these red ones. And so basically what you're using these for is Pride will be able to place one of these retaliation dice on one of the cards in the man's market. Now, this does not stop the man from purchasing the card. However, if they do purchase a card from that stack, they will have to return it to the Pride. And whenever Pride gets any dice, they always re-roll their entire dice pool. So you're basically getting them closer to their win condition. So it's called retaliation because you're just de-incentivizing the man from buying that particular card. And again, like I said, once you've gotten to the end of the 80s, you just keep going until one person gets to their win condition, and it's winner take all, baby. No. So if we do make any rules mistakes, please put a timestamp down in the comments so that we can add any clarifications to the description. And I think that's all we need to get started with our playthrough. So let's get into it, shall we?
Yes.
So let's get into the 60s, the start of the gay civil rights. So I will be going first. The man always starts first, so I have my first player token flipped over to the family values side. And we start by taking 5 cards. And I will be playing a card first. Then we will go back and forth until one of us decides to fold, at which point your values are doubled.
Yes.
So, what do I want to do as the man? It's never a bad idea to start with homosexuality. Is a mental illness. So I'm going to move you 2 towards my side. In the DSM, homosexuality was described as sociopathic personality disturbance. In the DSM-2, it was updated to sexual deviation. You deviant.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to counter that with a save our human rights. Liberal ideas. For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. Nelson Mandela.
Mazel tov.
So we're going to move, and then that puts systemic support on my side.
Well, believe it or not, I had 2 of these in my opening hand. So 1, 2. I'm going to move the Overton window up by 1, which is towards me in this case. And I've triggered the first event for the 60s. Coming in hot. And then this snaps back to the start. It's back to you.
Well, let's do this. Let's play the Mattachine Society. The Mattachine Society, founded in 1950, was one of the earliest gay rights groups in the United States.
Yeah.
Branches formed in other cities, and by 1961, the society had splintered into regional groups.
Can't we all just get along?
So we're going to move this up 1.
Only 1, huh, boys?
That's
Your little
it.
suit and ties.
That's it, but it's on Pride's side, so that's good.
I have a decision to make here. Already I'm deciding whether I'm going to fold or not.
That would be up to you.
Oh, I'll play one more. Already worried public. The civil rights movement took huge strides during the 1960s, including momentous legislative gains, which in turn inspired a number of similar movements, such as ours. Boop. No public support for you. Sexual deviant.
And you know what? We're going to counter that with the Kinsey reports.
I knew you were a sexual deviant.
Alfred Kinsey is widely regarded as the first major figure in American sexology. Yeah. Kinsey developed a scale measuring sexual orientation and is credited as a precursor to the sexual revolution. Did you ever see that movie, Kinsey?
No.
You never did? It was good. I can't even think of who played him now.
Liam Neeson.
Oh, Liam Neeson plays everyone.
Okay, I'm folding now. And now all your values are doubled if you choose to play cards. But if you do play cards, then I'll get these plus tokens here.
No, I can't do that. It's just too tight of a game.
He refuses, anytime I fold, he refuses to ever play another card.
No, because it's like, you know what I'm going to liken it to? Because I was a teacher for many years. It is like when you have a 3-day weekend. Everybody loves 3-day weekends, right? No,
right.
No, because you have twice as much work. I don't know why. Like the week you come back and it's a 4-day week and it seems twice as long as a 5-day week. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it. Don't even.
It's not worth it. That's the point.
That is the point.
Except sometimes it is worth it.
Anyway, I am folding as well.
Okay, well
So
then
you
we're
can go
going to
shopping.
our market phase. If our event track were full at this time, we would be resolving that, but we're not quite there yet.
All right.
So I'm buying. I have 3 to buy with, and I'm using 2 cards, so that means whatever I buy, I can put on top of my deck, as opposed to my discard. And I'm going to go with the threat of communism, because that feels spicy. And these
Well,
have
you
to
went
start it.
one too long to please me. I would have liked it if you had folded before playing that last card. Anyway, I have 3 to buy with as well.
And 2 cards, so you're going to be able to top deck it.
I am going to take and this is bad because I don't have enough to get openly LGBT businesses.
Your
which is a
favorite,
good one.
get that rainbow capitalism.
But I'm going to get Marcia.
Oh, she's
Marsha,
so
Marsha.
pretty. Look at her.
And
Gets
it
the
was
rainbow
kind of a
flag.
waste. I guess I could have played Jane.
Marcia is never a waste. Shut your whore mouth.
No,
Sir, I'm arrested.
no. I mean, maybe it was a waste. I could have played the Janus Society. I could rep.
Oh, woulda, coulda, shoulda. So now you're going to be going first.
I guess not.
Let me draw 5 more cards.
Oh, you know what? I can put her on top.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that.
That's right, because you use 2 cards or less to buy. So, very important rule not to forget, because it can really help you.
That's a good rule. It's definitely important to remember that one.
Sad I didn't get any plus tokens, but that's okay. Yes, my thighs right there, baby.
You're spreading
Put
your
hand
legs.
forward.
No, you're spreading your legs.
To share my love.
Could you not?
It's kind of tight here. So, that's not the only thing that's tight. All right. And I'm not talking about the game.
All right, go.
It's your turn. You're
And
first. You're gay,
go.
proud, and
Come
angry.
on, Rich. Would you play a card? Come on. Yeah, I am going to start with LGBT awareness article in Life in June of 1964, which I can remember. Not
Indeed.
not very damn
You were
well.
5 years old.
No, I was only 4 for most of the year because my birthday's in December. But Life magazine had an article entitled Homosexuality in America, which is the first time a national publication reported on the issue.
Gay people didn't exist before
yeah.
1964, as
No.
far as America was concerned.
Yeah, no, they didn't. So there we go. Now it's on my side.
I see that. I'm going to fold.
That is really excellent. Well, I don't know if you really wanted to do that because
We'll see.
I am not going to.
I'm
You
trying to
just-
show you if the
Yeah.
strategy can work or not.
He is trying to coax me into playing after.
Yeah, because I want those
people.
plus tokens.
So you know what?
So I can draw more
am
cards.
going to. I am going to play Marsha
Cool.
P. Johnson. So
That
this
goes
will
there.
be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's still not enough to get dice. Damn it.
Not quite.
Shoot.
And individual
But-
support is on your side.
So I can move the Overton window down back to 30.
Down is up currently, which is always kind of confusing.
Yeah, that is
about
confusing. Do I have any more blue? I'd sure like to get some dice, but you know what? That's it. I blew my load right there. Okay,
There you go.
you are gonna. I'm gonna fold too.
I knew you would. I knew the most I would get out of you is 1.
I would play another card if I had another blue one or whatever. I would have played
But
it.
all your values are doubled, so
Yeah, but Marsha's really only worth 2, but I got 4 out of her.
also keep in mind this: who's going to have majority.
I have to get into the end zone before I can add to it. It's
You do?
not easy. Okay, what are you going to take?
Well, the sky's the limit because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. I could get some police raids for 2, hate groups for 3, and police brutality for another 3. And those go into my discard.
Wow.
Technically, you were supposed to do the buying first, but it doesn't really matter for this. I think this can be
All right,
somewhat simultaneous.
I have 6 to spend,
Well, you know.
and
I gotta reshuffle anyway.
I will get Jose Sadia.
What did he do?
The first openly gay man to run for public office, Jose Sarria, got around 6,000 votes, foreshadowing that one day the gay vote would wield real political power. It doesn't say where he ran.
Do you remember when that gay guy was mayor of West Sacramento for like 10 years?
I do.
Yeah, we all met him at the club.
Yeah, Chris, yeah.
He was cute.
You know, he was there when I went and saw Pete Buttigieg when he came to Sacramento. One of the times it was January of 2020.
Good old stump.
Chris was there.
That was kind of, I feel like that was his campaign slogan. Chris was there. Like, because you'd always be running into him in the strangest places. Well, not the strangest places, Badlands.
So I had to put on the wigs and the heels and the lashes and the ear and take the train to the club.
Oh, and I'm going to take another openly LGBT businesses. The good thing about, they cost more, but the good thing is they move the tracker more, so I need that.
Indeed. Okay, so I'm going first again, and because I have this plus token, thank you for that, by the way, I'm going to draw 6. 1, 2, 3, 4.
How can I get to draw 6?
As I just explained.
Oh,
this plus token allows me to do that. That's why I folded so early. Because I was trying to juice a stone. Very unyielding gay stone over here. Stone Cold Fox. Arrgh. So I'm going first, so why don't we... Okay. Hate groups. Nazis are coming to town, so 1, 2, 3. Systemic support is not on my side, and neither is public support, so I can't do this other thing, but I have a plan.
No kidding. All right, well...
I wasn't kidding, I was dead serious. Emphasis on that.
For any of these die, do you get more than one die? Or each of them is just one die?
It's always just one.
But I assume the ones that are further...
Well, they have more numbers on them, so you're more likely to roll a higher number.
All right, you know what? In that case...
You want dice. Last time I played this solo, I only had 2 dice the whole game. It was so pathetic.
I am going to play openly LGBT businesses.
Of course.
Which I really do think had a lot to do with it because, you know, this being a capitalist society and all.
More visible.
Yeah. I think Taylor Schuss was exactly right in how he weighted these things. Like that.
Hashtag good job, Taylor.
Yeah, that is true. Whereas, like, the Mattachine Society isn't very important, like, in the 1950s, but still only worth 1 because it's just
they were
a
very
rag,
still
you know?
private and, you know, shadowy kind of, you know.
Not
invite only at the club, you know.
Yeah, so, I mean, I do think that this really is going to help me a lot. It's going to help.
Well, you're going to get die.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You're going to get a D8. That's those little spinny top-shaped ones.
It's an octahedron.
Octahedron, yeah. Okay, my turn.
But do I get to roll it? Or
yes, you roll it immediately. I doubt you're going to get more than 30.
It's not going to happen, but let's see. I got 5.
Okay, well, it's not even the end of the 60s yet, and you've already... Oh, but you got to resolve your thing.
Yeah.
So
it goes back
place
here.
the thing here.
Yay, and that's good. Now, I want to get the next event because it's either going to be Andy or it's going to be me.
The threat of communism, like a specter, is shadowing your life. So that's 1, 2, 3. So close, but no cigar. If individual support is on your side, which it is for the man, move the Overton window up by 2. I got to slow you down. That means it's your turn.
Okay. Well, let's do this then.
The royalty.
I played this before. It's Save Our Human Rights. A refrain you were always going to hear from my lips.
Liberal ideas.
No matter, liberal ideals. You know, for me, it's always going to be about those liberal ideals.
Okay, well, that doesn't matter because your sexuality is mental illness.
Sick!
You're crazy. Okay, well, the Overton window's going down, or up, I should say, by 2 again. And, ha-ha! None for you. But we have to keep going and until we both fold before we resolve the event.
Right.
So, but you're not going to be able to get any of those 60 cards now because they're going to go before we get to the market phase. That's how that works.
That's right. Show everyone the evilness.
I'm maybe getting a little too into... This is a serious game, guys. Very serious. Because the AIDS epidemic is going to happen eventually.
So, if I fold first, I don't get to buy any of the 60s cards?
You're not going to be in either case. It really doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter. Well, then I'm not going to fold. Let's see what you're going to do.
Well, my values are doubled.
No, they're not, because I didn't fold.
Then you need to take your turn.
Shut up.
You folded?
Yeah.
I'll fold too.
So you don't actually end up getting anything because
no one gets anything. Except we have to resolve this event now. So actually I am going to get something. If the event track is full, which it currently is, because it's 3 spots for the 60s and 5 spots for the 70s and 80s. Now we're going to resolve this. So
got anything.
I have the majority because I have 2 to Rich's 1. So I'm going to get a 60s event over here. Technically, you're supposed to shuffle these, but you can kind of just randomly pick one at the beginning of the game to set out. You don't have to do the shuffling part, but that is technically what it says in the rules. Nixon sworn in. Move the Overton window up by 4. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I am a crook. So now this is my ability down here that I will have going into the 70s. So whenever I detain a person during the 70s, I'll be able to detain an additional person. So I'm just going to kind of slide this under here just to remind myself of that ability.
Did you take your
and then
60s
these come off?
Did you take the 60s off of yours?
What do you mean? Where else would I have gotten it?
No, like I had to take all the 60s cards.
Oh, no, I haven't done it yet. I'm not done resolving stuff. So, these come off. And I think this is the first thing I was supposed to do, is take off the 60s. You're right.
I'm always right.
That's the first step.
Except for when I'm wrong.
Hopefully I got the stuff that I need. I think I got almost one. And I'm just going to throw those over there. That's fine. Okay, so now that event is resolved. And now we can go to our market phase. So I have 3 to buy with. And now I'm in the 70s. Oh, whoops. Forgot to take that away. Conservative backlash, perhaps? Maybe these law tokens would be useful. I have 3, so I'm going to take conservative backlash.
Something we know all too well.
Well, many Americans responded to the turbulence of the late 1960s by embracing a new kind of conservatism. I always add an extra V in conservatism. Conservatism.
Conservatism?
Sounds like conservation. These individuals formed what political strategists called a silent majority.
I thought, I think that Richard Nixon was the one that... Well, he may not have been the one to coin the phrase, but he definitely was the one that popularized the phrase.
What?
Richard Nixon talking about the silent majority. I think it was really more in respect to the Vietnam War, but I mean, all of this stuff was tied together in the 60s. Every bit of it was all tied together because of what was going on.
Oh, one big canvas.
It is, and it's not that much different than today, folks. It's the same divided society. It's just people maybe weren't as big assholes back then.
Unfortunately.
Or if they were quieter about it.
Well, silent majority.
Yeah. Okay, I have 4 to go shopping
Big
with.
spender. You could get Sylvia Rivera, the White Knight Riots. Those are pretty good.
I want to read what this one does.
Yeah, retaliation die.
Ooh.
So that's these red ones. So when he places a retaliation die using Sylvia Rivera, he puts it on one of the cards in my market. And that.
I am.
That helps you get dice into your pool.
I am taking that. It does say, Sylvia Rivera was a drag queen who, with Marsha P. Johnson, founded STAR, a group that advocated for and supported homeless LGBT youth.
Great activist. If you don't know about Sylvia Rivera, let's just say the Pride movement and the flag would not exist without her. So she was one of the first really active trans activists, along with Marsha, of course. But she outlived Marsha. Okay, so I think you're going first now. And we're each drawing 5 more cards.
I know. Unfortunately, I used 2 minutes. If I had only used 2 for that, then she would have been on the top of the deck.
3 rounds in, and we're already a third of the way through the game. So it goes fast.
No, geez, this is the fastest we've ever played this game. All right, so it is all very interesting.
Indeed, verily and forsooth.
I'm going to play Countrywide Organization. Established in 1966, AirCho functioned as a monthly meeting group for LGBT groups of the era to coordinate, eventually planning the first Pride Parade. So let's go up here. That moves individual support. That's kind of important. You want to try to keep individual support on the Pride side because there's a number of cards I know that the man has. If individual support is on his side, he gets a lot more stuff.
Indeed, it's time for some conformity because it was just expected that people were heterosexual. So much so that many gay people had beards, which is not hair on your face, but spouses they were not romantically interested in to look straight. Or sometimes they were just bi.
You mean like Eleanor Roosevelt?
Okay, that's a little controversial, but...
I am going to stand behind that statement.
You know, Amelia Earhart and her husband had an open relationship with both. He had relationships with men and she had relationships on women. And she said to him when he proposed, "The one thing I request is my freedom."
And seasons if it gets through to you.
You really got to admire Amelia Earhart.
Yeah, so there you go.
You really have to.
There's your bit of queer history and poly history for the day. So
I know.
Okay, your turn.
All right, what am I gonna do? You moved it back down because conformity. Damn, this is what I don't. This game is such a tug of war. I played this before, so it's the LGBT awareness article in Life magazine that came out in 1964. At least that moves public support back onto Pride's side. And it's your turn.
Okay, well, time for some police brutality. That's 1, 2, 3 there. And if public support is on your side, damn it!
It's not.
Damn it! I miscalculated.
Oh, good.
Oh, well, at least I did a huge cleanup of New York City, and I rid the city of homosexuals.
Yes, I'm sure.
I don't think that's possible.
For not even for 10 minutes, probably.
Oh, if you know how to use a semicolon, get in this colon.
Well, public support is on my side, and that's good, because Frank Kameny will let me move this back, so individual support is now on Pride's side. Plus, if public support is on my side, which it is, I can move the Overton window, which is, oh my god, all the way up to 38.
I bumped it almost to the max.
It's down by 37.
Progress is a slow crawl.
It is so slow on these cards.
Okay, well, I'm folding.
So slow. And I must as well.
You must?
Wait, yeah, because I could do this. You know, if it was one more over, then it would be worth it. But even if I did it last time. Played my Marsha P. Johnson.
Still not enough.
It's still not enough to get a die, so it's just not worth it.
Well, I have 4 to buy with, so I think I'm going to get. Do I want religious groups? Or I want to start detaining people, I think.
See?
Let's get exclusion from the military. Don't ask, don't tell. Shh, I'll never tell.
His penis got diseases from a shoe mosh trot.
This one will tell, I'll tell you.
I'm getting a little too into the evil play here.
I never said I was a role model.
What about? I know. I'll calm it down once we get to the 80s.
Okay, I have only 3, so I am going to get Harvey Milk, which also allows me to play a retaliation die on a market in the man's market.
He's good. He's very helpful.
Yeah, so that's that.
Did Harvey Milk really go around with a bullhorn like that?
Yeah.
Did he wear the lei?
I don't know about the lei. I don't remember that so much.
I think they're just trying to make it clear, because I notice a lot of these historical figures are also wearing leis. I think it's just like, hey, they're gay, by the way, to kind of differentiate them from the man.
Yeah, every gay person alive had to go through their rainbow lei phase. I had my rainbow lei.
I think I still have one somewhere. Okay, 5 more cards, and I will be going first.
Oh, I only paid with him for only 2 cards, so I can put him on top.
No, you had 3 cards to buy altogether, right?
No, just 2. 1, 2.
Okay. Well, it's time for some exclusion from the military. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to detain 2 people. So the way detaining works, you get to select who's detained from your discard. And if you didn't have a discard right now, I'd take it from the top of his deck.
You get to detain 2?
2, yes.
Wow.
And also I'm just going to go ahead and add this event tracker here.
All right,
And put
I'm
this
going
back
to
at 0.
detain
I'm going to go here.
liberal ideals, because, that's always...
Well, you got enough use out of it.
And the Janus Society, which, of course, in our day is actually just American society.
Yeah, who cares about those chains?
No, the Janus looking in 2 opposing directions, that would be the United States right now.
So it goes into the Rainbow Prison. So he's still going to be able to undetain them later on if he gets the right cards, or goes up on this track. End zone here will allow him to undetain them. But if I demoralize them and send them here, they're permanently off limits. And if I demoralize 10, I win the game automatically.
Listen, I'm going to play Harvey Milk. Wait, yeah, because I got to put him on top of the deck. That's right. 1, 2, 3. But more importantly, I get to place a retaliation die on a card in the man's.
Which doesn't keep me from buying the card, by the way. It just de-incentivizes me from buying that card, because if I do, I know I'm going to be giving him more die to roll.
He already has exclusion from the military and conservative backlash. I don't think you have conservative radio yet.
I do not, and I do not have judiciary bias either.
Well, because this is costless, I'm going to just put that there.
Okay, well, I'm going to do some established practices, which apparently includes bullying. Gay bashing. Oh, it was the unofficial pastime of New York. Isn't that lovely? So, I'm just putting you back 1 here.
Oh, that's good. I'm still not.
Well,
all right,
you are gay, which, as we've established, is a mental illness. So it's...
I could be hallucinating.
Delusions of homosexuality, yes.
All right, well then, in that case, okay, so why do the Pride not have more superpowers on here where they get the extras?
You gotta buy those good cards.
One of these cards has any extras.
Maybe you need a gay liberation front.
Oh, God. Well, I do need a gay liberation front.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
But you need that money, comrade.
It only gives me 6, which, well, you know what? I am going to fold.
Really?
Yes.
Oh. Well, that changes what I was going to do. Maybe it changes what I was going to do. No, I'm going to fold as well.
Okay, then. Then I have 6 to go shopping with.
And I have 7. So I'm getting this judiciary bias and this ex-gay movement, which is about, well, it's basically about, what do they call that? Conversion therapy. It's basically the inspiration for conversion therapy. People that claim they were cured of their mental illness.
Okay, well, I have 6 to spend. Okay, I am going to take another Harvey Milk so I can take this...
A clone?
Yeah, so I can take this homosexuality...
Oh, there's a conspiracy theory for you. Harvey Milk has been alive this whole time because he cloned himself. That's where...
Think so?
Yeah, that's where Sean Penn came from.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess I need to reshuffle this. And one more time. with
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah, as you go through this game, your deck will become, a good size because, there's 36 cards to buy. Of course, you're never going to be able to buy all the cards.
I hope I got good ones. I need good ones.
Well, as my piano teacher always said, hope is not a plan.
Yes, but this game has a little bit of luck involved.
And optimism.
Yes, I'm very optimistic.
Well, you're going first, so there's your advantage.
Okay. Oh, cool. Everything's back on my side. Yay. Oh, shoot. No, I don't want to do that right now. Mm-mm. We'll do this. I'll play Harvey Milk. I'm going to move this 1, 2, 3. Oh. Yay. So I can undetain the Janus Society. And, just one?
Just one.
Okay. And I move the 3, so. But then, okay.
That snaps back to the start.
Yeah.
And you already did your event check, so now you can resolve the card text.
Oh, yeah.
You always resolve the end zone things if they get triggered first before the card text.
All right. I am going to put 1 there. So hopefully you will buy something.
I don't think that's going to change what I'm doing here. So government approval. Homosexuality was suspected to be a common cause for being targeted by McCarthyism. That's a little weird grammar there, but I think I know what they mean. It resulted in over 5,000 federal workers getting fired and thousands more denied employment. Not just the celebrities, okay? McCarthyism got the civil servants too. So, 1, 2, and I get to detain one person.
See,
So
this is what I don't like.
you may detain
about.
someone from your discard.
Back they go.
Yeah, they're useless anyway, so screw them.
You sure you don't want to fold? Look, if you fold now, you could have all those juicy cards. Juicy. Maybe not. Maybe he doesn't want.
I've spoiled you with folding early too many times, so.
I don't think I was spoiled.
Rotten. I can smell it from here.
Public support is on my side, so I am going to play Frank Kameny again, which will move this to 1, 2.
And public support is on your side.
So I get to move the Overton window now to a only slightly less horrible 35.
Okay. The public is worried. Well, they were worried already, I should say. 1 there. Okay. Harry Hay.
Harry Hay was the founder of the Mattachine Society. He fought against the assimilationist ideas of the early gay rights campaigners. There's lots of interesting material on Harry Hay. I was able to meet Harry Hay and his partner, John Burnside, in their...
He was there.
Yeah.
Here's a photographic evidence that he is... You should be featured in this game.
I should be, but I haven't done a damn diddly squat, so But I did actually. I was a spotter. He and John they had more than one grand marshal because here's a picture of me with Ian McKellen after this was.
See how
after.
impressive my boyfriend is? Okay, 2 degrees of separation from Ian McKellen. Okay, guys.
It's true. You just
2 degrees of separation from Gandalf.
It's
Suck
all
on
you
that,
have to do
Jeff.
is come up and touch me, and then you're just like, wow.
It's like magic.
It is. So I know that this was the same time because I'm wearing the same shirt in this photo with Harry and John. Harry is an incredibly interesting person and was also, they don't mention it here, I believe he was a co-founder of the Radical Fairies. Now, a lot of people have not heard of the Radical Fairies.
They're just that radical, comrade.
Look it up. Look it up. If you're a gay person and you're now just hearing about the Radical Fairies, I would say look it up. I played, baby. So I think it's your turn now.
Established practices. And I'm folding.
Oh, good.
So your values are doubled now.
Good. I am going to see where I'm at on the blue track, and I'm going to play this homosexuality removed from the DSM, which means that I get to go through the man's deck and discard pile and remove all copies of homosexuality as a mental illness, and they are out of the game permanently. that I can honestly say was the single biggest. I'm surprised the card's only worth 3, but that was probably the single greatest achievement in terms of giving gay people rights. I will get double that, so that gives me 6.
Oh, that really scared me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I get another D6, which is a cube, right?
Yeah, it's a 6-sided die.
And you got rid of those cards, so I get to roll. Oh no! Oh no!
I put the thing on the event for you, and this goes back.
No!
That's how I'm feeling right now.
I have 5.
2 still isn't enough. You really
I have
need
to
4
beat
or
the
more.
Overton window, which is at 35, and I have 5. Unless we choose to look at it this way, 32.
No, that's not how it works, baby.
And I still wouldn't.
It's
have
adding. It's additive.
Meanwhile, I will have a Marsha P. Johnson.
There's
card
nothing
worth
worth
2.
2.
Then I am not going to be buying a darn thing this time.
Oh, but you played something after I folded, so I do get one of these plus tokens.
All right.
So are you playing Marsha too?
I can't buy anything with her, so I might as well.
You might as well.
And it puts it back onto... Oh! Would I get 4?
Yes. You're still doubled.
Okay,
So
then that
folded.
puts me right here.
I'll help you get you a little head start. Well, okay. Then we go into the market phase.
You do.
You don't have anything.
I get into...
Well, I have 3.
You screwed
because you
yourself,
got rid of my
guys.
2 with the DSM. That's how I was going to buy another judiciary bias. But I guess I have to buy one of these and just give you a die, so you get to roll again. But I used 1 to buy it, so it does go on top of my deck here.
Okay, let's roll these die. And you might notice how different all the die are.
Indeed. Well, what do you got?
Okay.
6, 7, 8.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, your rolls
better than the
are
last time.
getting incrementally better. Okay, well, I'm going first this time, and I'm drawing 7 cards. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So those plus tokens go back.
Why do you get 7 cards?
Again, the plus tokens go back.
I knew you got 1 plus token. How did you
played
get
2 cards after I folded.
That is true.
Yeah, so thanks for that.
That's true.
So I think it's time to detain some people.
No!
With exclusion from the military. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have to detain 3 people. Do you have a discard?
No.
Oh, well, let me come from the top of your deck. 1, 2, 3. Bye-bye, Sylvia.
And that's a really high-powered card.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, I think... Well, I won't think. I won't.
Boop. Okay, well...
Oh, and you took this one, too. You got my openly LGBT businesses.
Well, I guess you couldn't pay your rent.
525,600 minutes.
You know, it's a hard market out there.
How many cards do you have left?
Well, I just played 1, and I drew 7. So, what's 7 minus
See,
1?
this is wrong. This is wrong.
Wrong!
Are you the bitch?
This is just wrong, because I don't think the man has not... It's like, how come you have so many cards in your deck?
Because you played 2 cards after I folded.
So what? I should get to play those cards. It's my right as a human being and as an American citizen. I'm sorry. It's wrong.
Turned.
Yeah. Is it my turn?
Yes.
I'm so sad.
You should be sad.
I'm going to play Del Martin and Phyllis Lyon, a lesbian couple that was co-founders for the Daughters of Bilitis, which is around, I don't know if it was probably a little after the Mattachine Society, but it was still in that era.
It's the 50s still, right?
Yeah, it was still in that era in which it was more about like little close associations.
Clubs. You had to keep
clubs.
it secret,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I
I mean, and it did, I'm sure, a certain amount of activism, but it would have been, just more limited because the systemic support was just not there at that time.
Right.
Okay.
And public support.
Yeah, that too. So, look, I get to move the Overton window.
Which, means
Just
that we're going to be
one.
ending the decade after this round.
Oh, but it also means that I won! But not the game.
Not
Just
yet.
Not the whole game.
But we have to finish until we've both folded, until we
Right,
resolve
right,
the event, obviously.
So why don't you roll?
But you are going to get one of your special 70s cards. So that is...
So I'm going to look through them and see which is the best, and that's the one I'm playing. Because I have to... The man is just so formidable. I'm going to cheat a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Okay. Time for some conservative backlash. 1, 2, 3. And I place the blue triangle law token. Here's where the law token's going to come on. So I can place it onto 2 unoccupied colored spaces. So obviously I can't place it there. And the start space is considered occupied. So I know you're going to do blue. So if he lands on this, then I will get to draw an extra card. So it's worth it.
And now you're withdrawing? Or folding?
No, not yet. Go, little gecko. Remember, it's a silent majority.
Not in this case, it's not.
Well, not unless you're a cook. Decisions.
Now, if I fold first, then I get to put token.
Yes, that's how that works.
Well,
For every card I play.
Okay. Folding.
Well, so this is an interesting situation because I'm going to play established practices, which means I'm going to detain another person. So you have no discard, technically. So there's that. But I'm supposed to add to the event track. So just to remember, we need to resolve this event because now I'm getting started on the 80s with my detaining of people.
What do I...
And you get a plus. So
get
put a plus on top of your deck to remind yourself that you'll get some extra,
An extra
draws.
card.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and you're still folded, so I'm just going to...
Keep going.
I could.
So
the
it's
thing
more
is,
cards.
okay, I will show the people at home what I have here. So I'm saving this 5 to get another one of these judiciary biases, because these are all going to go away soon anyway. But if I buy this escape movement with these other 2, that gives you another die. I shouldn't help you if I'm being strategic, but if I keep on playing cards, so I can either waste them or give you more card draws. I am going to fold, and I'm just going to buy...
I never got to reveal my...
We have to resolve the event first. So, first up, we'll make sure we do this in order. I'm folding, which means we have to resolve that event we triggered for the 70s. So you get to pull a 70s card.
Let's see.
And those
which
came
one?
off. And now I have to remove these 70s cards anyway. None for me. No conservative radio.
Okay. After looking over the cards in a very unsportsmanlike way,
Oh my god, I wasn't even noticing because I was removing my cards over here.
I'm going to go with media representation. Now, I like this card because, you know, growing up while all of this was going on, it really did make... it made a huge impact, being able to see, you know, stories. I remember they did it was like a movie of the week, That Certain Summer. It's not in here, but anyway, you can look it up. And it showed, I think it was Martin Sheen, and I can't think of who his lover was in the thing.
I need to interrupt the story, but I realized I forgot this decade to use this power the 2 times I detain, so I need to detain.
No. There's no do-overs. There are no do-overs.
Get it! I have
Do
to
you
take them.
see this?
The people
Police brutality?
Well, I think... Do I still have that card?
Fine. You
What's
just
your
do it,
special
but mine,
ability
I'm
anyway?
going to move the Overton window down 4.
Oh.
Ha! So now
That's
it's at 30, where
back
it
where you
started
started.
at the gate.
Okay, what's your ongoing ability? So don't forget to do yours, like I forgot
Whenever
to do
the man
mine.
places a law token this decade, and we're just starting this decade, so that
Yes.
means right there. Move the Overton window down by 1, so I get to move it down another one. Yeah.
Because I did just place 1. No, but that was
No.
technically before we resolved the event.
Yeah, but But it wasn't. It was part of the next. We'd already finished the 70s, and we were supposed
That's
to
an
resolve
interesting
this
little
first.
conundrum, Taylor. So we might have to add that to the errata questions. But anyway, so that's that. So remove all your 70s cards.
All right.
And we're going to have to go to our market phase now. So I have 5, 6, 7 to buy with, which is actually great because
He has 7 to buy with.
I'm going to get this AIDS panic. Oh, well, now we're in the 80s. So because we're in the 80s, we have to add the start token here. So now Pride will be able to play cards, potentially from the 80s, that will move the start token, which will mean when he resets this cube, it will go to wherever the start token is. So that's a helpful thing in the 80s. But anyway, I got my AIDS panic, and I have 3 left. So I'm going to get lack of blood testing. Here, have another retaliation die. Woo! And you can roll and see what you get.
With all, and
I doubt you'll get 29, but
all I have
who
to
knows?
do, pray for a miracle, will you? Pride is asking.
Only God can forget.
5.
I have 4 die. I still can only get 1.
There's no, don't knock over the table. Don't flip the table.
I'm about to flip the table.
Okay, we have to stop.
Okay, so I get to go shopping. And I have, let's see, that would be 7, which is pretty good.
That's good, especially going into the 80s. Because now the age deaths are going to start happening.
Okay, so I'm going to take Larry Kramer. Larry
Great
Kramer
player.
helped organize the gay men's health crisis and later ACT UP. Kramer went on to pen 1,112 and counting, an influential essay urging the LGBT community to take AIDS seriously.
I find it interesting you didn't mention The Normal Heart, because that's really the one that made him famous, I thought.
Yeah.
The play.
Yeah.
A great play about the AIDS epidemic, and there's also an HBO adaptation, but I never watched
I wish
it.
I had even more to buy with. You know what? Maybe I'm not going to get Larry Kramer. Maybe I want the AIDS quilt instead.
Could undetain people.
Yeah, I like that.
This one just lets you re-roll
You know
your
what?
dice, and it gives you +3 to
I'm
your
going to
roll.
take Anthony Fauci.
I like Fauci.
We're going
He's
with
good.
Anthony Fauci. If you don't know who he is, you must have been living under a rock for the
That's
last
for
few
real.
years.
Fauci has been a bro twice over. Okay, so we're going to the 80s now. Next round. And I already have 1 on the event track, so I got a little bit of an advantage. But I haven't been able to buy any of these cards because I folded. No, I bought my cards already. Because I bought this lack of blood testing.
I get 6 cards this time because of this.
Yes.
Let's hope they're good
And you're
ones.
first.
Oh, good. Thank heaven for small
There
favors.
are quite a
because
few detained people. 1, 2, 3, 4,
There
5,
are
6,
way
7,
too
8.
many. Okay, so
8.
the undetained
So if I start
people-
demoralizing people, that's not going to be good for
No,
you. Which,
and
if
of
I'm
course-
smart, that's what I would try to do.
Some of
And
these
also,
people-
just a heads up
I
for
have no red.
a heads up for our viewer at homes. These little gray numbers here mean that whenever I buy these cards, that's the number of AIDS deaths that are going to happen, and I'll move this track here, which could lead to a potential win condition for me. Because if I get dying in the streets and I play it, and there are 8 or more AIDS deaths, I immediately win the game. So it's kind of a race against time and death.
Yeah, all right.
So this is where my jokes will stop, because now people are dying. It's kind of real now.
Yeah, it really was. So I'm going to play Jose Sarria again
Jose's been super active
because
this
as
game.
long as the individual support is on my side, I get to move the Overton window.
That's not the over.
I know,
Oh,
but
that's the blue.
not-
Okay.
I get to move the Overton window down. It is now on 28.
Getting closer. I feel generally the closer you get to 20, the more likely you are to roll what you need. And if you get below 20, it gets really likely. You do. Okay. Judiciary bias. So this is going to move this here 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Almost. I do not have 2 or more law tokens on the board yet. Oh, I'll just leave that there.
I am going to play LGBT awareness article from Life. because it will move me up 2, and I'm right there, so that'll put me right up against that edge. Hopefully, I can get around the law tokens.
Yeah, because if you land on them, it just gives me a benefit.
I know, I don't want to give you any more benefit. No more benefits for you.
I'm going to slap some more conformity here so that I can, 1, 2, demoralize X detained people, which is going to be 2. Let me place this so I don't forget. You have to choose which ones are being demoralized. I'm pretty sure you still choose for the demoralization. And we'll just snap this back there. So it's
all right.
technically
Well,
back on your side.
it's just 2, right? So I'm gonna pick the ones with the smallest number, obviously.
Yes, that's smart.
And it's going to be Save Our Human Rights and the Janus Society.
Well,
No helping those.
we milked liberal ideals quite a bit.
I still have another liberal ideals
Oh,
in there.
jeez.
Yeah. Now that was
my turn, so I'm gonna fold. So now your values are doubled.
Oh, that is wonderful. I think.
Is it?
Yeah, because I am going to play this homosexuality is removed from the DSM.
Blue.
We already have.
We'll let you go over those triangles.
Yeah,
I see where you're going.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3,
So you got a
4,
D4.
5, 6, a D8.
Oh, you doubled. Yeah, that's right.
D8.
There you go. That's the little spinny top ones.
These, right? And I get to see if I can.
Yeah, I'll do this for you. I'll just help you out here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, the 80s is going quick. 20! Ooh, you're getting closer.
20 is not bad, though.
It's not. Well, you got plenty of die. I really can't let you have that other retaliation die.
No, you should.
I need to focus on demoralizing people to get to my win condition.
No, don't.
It's not enough to slow you down.
Oh my gosh.
So that might help too. But we'll see.
No.
Well, are you going to... Oh, you played one, so I get a plus token.
You do. And now I'm going to fold.
Okay, market face. I will let you go first. I'll be polite.
I have 4.
Oh, you could get Larry Kramer.
Oh,
for
I
real.
could do the act up.
Sure.
And I guess it's the S token is always for public
Well, we're at
support,
0.8
right?
steps currently, so you might want to wait on that
Oh,
one.
shoot. Yeah.
I say get Larry Kramer.
Yeah.
Because he gets +3 to your roll.
Well,
Which could really help you right now if you keep
did I
on
get
rolling
the
20s.
AIDS quilt last time? Is that
Yeah.
No, I bought Dr.
Oh, you bought Fauci, huh?
Yeah,
Okay, well,
I'm going to do the AIDS quilt because it allows me to undetain persons.
that might help you. Especially as I start trying to... Maybe I'll try to demoralize people. That would be strategic.
Okay.
Because that's my win condition. One of them, anyway. Okay, so I have 7, and I'm just going to buy these televangelists. Obviously, I can't use the extra, because you can't hold stuff from round to round. So, but I am going to get a +1, and I am going first this time.
So you get an extra card is what it is.
Yes,
right?
I will be drawing 6. Let me just shuffle real quick. Okay, I have a feeling the 80s is going to end soon. But if you get any more die, I have a feeling you might be able to end it before me and win. But who knows?
You just never
Still
know.
in it to win it. You know, you never know in the 80s. It goes fast.
It does.
So I'm drawing 6. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
6.
and you have the advantage now because you're going first and you
It's
have
true.
an extra card.
These
so.
are true facts. I really need to just demoralize you, or demoralize your already imprisoned activists. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ooh.
And then I'm placing the orange law token
Why do you get
here.
to place the orange?
That's the card text right here. And that one lets me demoralize one person when you land on it. You're almost certainly going to land on one of those now, which is why I'm lining them up like that.
You're not very nice.
I'm literally representing the systems of oppression.
Yes, and we know
I'm
how
literally
bad they
oppressing
can be.
you.
Yes, that's exactly right. is individual support on my side? It is not.
See, I really should have used, when I had that card in the 70s that let me detain extra people, I should have been detaining more, but it wasn't quite working.
I'm going to
for
play
me.
Marsha P. Johnson.
Oh, I love her.
To get
love her work.
move up right up against your law tokens right there.
Hedging your bets, I see.
If individual support is on your side, but it is not, sadly. So I cannot move the Overton window.
Good.
It's your turn.
Well, public support is technically on your side, right?
I wouldn't pay any attention to that.
We're going to do some established practices.
Oh no.
We've been doing something wrong this whole time.
What?
We have been folding on the same turn as we played a card. You're supposed to wait till your next turn to fold.
Oh.
So that kind of matters. Whoops.
Oh well.
The game's not over
it's
yet.
not-
I mean, it's really something that's been helping you more so than me. Because
Good.
I've been folding
I need
extra
all
early
the
this whole
help
time.
I can get. Like right now with
Sure.
Dr. Anthony Fauci to the rescue.
Hi, Sadie.
Exactly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I get a D6.
Uh-oh.
That's this one. And this goes back to here.
Don't forget to add a thing here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So we're tit for tat there.
We are.
And now
I have a feeling you might. You
The
could
roll.
win right now. If you get 28,
it's probably not going to happen, but let's see.
it's statistically possible.
I need my lucky dice.
He does need his
Woo!
beautiful velvet dragon dice tray. I got him.
Yes. The velvet is what makes it roll better.
Very fancy. Okay, what'd you got?
Okay,
9,
5 and 5. That's good. And 5, 15.
18, 19. Okay.
Not there yet.
There's no 8 steps yet. Oh, when I bought... Hold on 1 second. Sorry, I wasn't updating the age track like I was
All right,
supposed to
but
be.
then I get to move the Overton window down once for every 2 deaths, so that's 2 times, right?
Yes. Oh, and you're getting towards those deck
1,
then tokens.
2.
Which I still get to choose what cards I remove when you hit those or pass those deck.
Right,
tokens.
right. It's looking better for Pride, I'm telling you. I was a little worried.
Well, I think my focus should be getting these aid stuffs up and getting dying in the streets. So, I'm folding. So I'm taking my turn to do it, which is the way you were supposed to do it. People don't. I knew I was going to miss something.
And I can fold as well, right?
Yes, you're using your turn to fold.
Do I want to?
I don't.
Yeah.
No, your values are doubled right now.
It would just me up. Yeah, unfortunately.
I
I'm going
agree.
to fold.
I agree. Okay, so I'm going to buy. So I have 10 points in the market. And I'm going to get dying in the streets and the Reagan administration here. That's me.
Oh, I am getting Larry Kramer. I didn't
Plus
read
3. I told you 2 times.
No, there's good stuff on here. If there are 2 or more law tokens on the board, you may immediately re-roll your dice pool, which means I can re-roll my dice
when you
pool.
play that card.
Oh, yeah. Add 3 to all rolls of your dice pool this round.
Yeah. So, again,
That's really
now that I
good.
have dying in the streets, the game doesn't immediately end. When we reach 8 aid steps, it has to be at 8s. And then if I play this card, that will immediately end the game. So,
Yeah.
it's a race at this point.
Oh, no.
But you're going first, so it's helpful.
Okay, good. Oh, my God. I'm so worried.
You should be. Actually, because I don't think I'm going to get to this demoralized thing because there's less than 10 cards here, and I've been trying hard to detain people and get there, and it hasn't been working out for me. So I'm just going to take the easy way out and just take advantage of a tragedy for my own benefit, just like the man would. Because I have no shame and no morals. And I consider all human life, rather than being precious, consider all people to be disposable.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it's so
Sad.
depressing.
It is.
This game will make you feel something when you really stop to think about what's going on here.
Don't stop to think about it.
Lordy.
All right. I'm going to play Right of Assembly.
You gotta fight for your
your
right to be
party.
gay.
Back on my side. Woohoo.
I have some thoughts about what I want to do, but I'll do this first because I'm right on the precipice. More straight people kissing. So I'm going to demoralize one person. So you have to choose who's getting demoralized
Not
here.
Harvey Milk.
Which means that I am going to get an event card for the 80s.
Of course you are.
But we still have to finish the round.
Just
obviously.
one?
Just one.
There go our liberal ideals again.
All your liberal ideals.
They're all gone.
They're all gone. Nothing will destroy your youthful optimism like staring straight into the face of death.
That's true. And having your liberal ideals crushed.
The crushing weight of reality.
Truly.
Okay, well, that was me. So we finished going until we decide to fold.
Oh, but you didn't fold, right?
And so we will resolve an 80s event card, but we won't remove the cards from our market boards because we just keep on going until one of us gets our win condition, and we need cards in order to facilitate that.
I will play Del Martin and Phyllis
Those
Long
lesbians
again.
have been working overtime for you this game. You know, you should pay them.
Truly.
Oh my god. That it?
I
Yes,
mean,
that's it for
it
you.
moved me
Okay, it's
too.
time for an AIDS panic. Of
Oh,
course, because many doctors, nurses, and teachers refuse to interact with those living with AIDS. In one case, a federal judge had to order a school to allow 3 boys living with AIDS to enroll in public schooling. Yep. Pretty often when I was a kid, people thought that if a kid that was positive bled in a pool, that everyone else would get it, which is, you can't transfer it quite that easily.
No, because
chlorine
the
would
chlorine
kill
might
most
kill
of the
it.
virus, yeah. But anyway, that's 4 on red. 1, 2, 3,
You're right
4.
on the edge.
If there are 2 or more law tokens on the board, demoralize up to 2 persons. More demoralization. 2 more, please.
I hate the man.
My hunger knows a no. end.
Well, then we're going to have to go to country-wide
Oh,
organization.
Three.
And I
Five.
don't like giving up this one. Right of assembly.
You've been using that one a good amount. Okay, it's up to 5. That's halfway towards that win condition. I still think I'm going to go for... Well, it's going to be a while until I can shuffle Dying in the Streets back in anyway. But I'm not folding yet. What do I care? Because I'm just going to go...
Wait, didn't you
for-
just play something?
Oh, yeah. It's your turn. Sorry.
You just played that AIDS panic thing.
Yes. Sorry. I was getting too excited from all the mayhem I just
Yes.
caused. It's like the last part of the game is just like a boulder rolling downhill, and it's just gaining more momentum,
Well, I'm going to fold.
Okay, my things are doubled.
No, wait. Let me look one more time. Yeah,
I'm
no.
just going to keep going.
I'm gotta fold.
Well, we're going to have to detain more people then. 4 for exclusion from the military. That just goes all the way to the end. If you ever exceed where it would go, you just get the maximum.
Wait, wasn't it 1, 2, 3, 4?
This is doubled. 8 because you folded. So I just basically, I had,
Oh,
and then some, I had change. But, in the case of change, you just get the maximum benefit.
So you're gonna detain 5 people?
4. And these can just come off.
So you get all these, and then that's it, right? You can't, unless they're detained, you can't demoralize them.
Not in the 2-player game. In the solo game, if I were demoralizing and there was no one detained, I would just detain extra people. But I think in the 2-player game, you don't do that. So, yes. How
All
many
right.
is that?
Was 3.
Well, how many total are demoralized? It's 8?
Oh, how many are demoralized right now?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how many.
Because I have more red, and
2,
it's doubled right now,
3,
so I could detain more.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you detain 2 more people, you win.
Oh, so when I just did this end zone, it was detain, not demoralize.
Oh, well then let's.
So you gotta undemoralize those people and
okay
detain some different ones.
from my
Discard.
discard pile. It's
So you
not
gotta-
going to be Anthony Fauci. I can tell you that.
You're gonna have to get rid of Marsha. Then.
So how many am I detaining?
4.
No, not Marsha. Marsha. We'll do Daughters of Bilitis, Kinsey reports,
Oh, you have 6, so you can make some choices, some tough choices.
but I have to do 2 more, right?
Yeah, you need 4 total because
That's all.
we were here.
Okay. These are detained.
So you're still folded. I'm just gonna keep going.
So wait, you played 1, right? You just played 1 card, and now you're gonna
Yeah,
play
I
another
played this
card.
exclusion from the military.
Okay, and now you're gonna play another one.
I'm gonna play 2 more. So I'm gonna do 4 more again and go 1, 2, 3, 4 and detain another person.
These are the discards. You can
You have to detain one of those people.
bye, Larry.
For now. So, you only resolve the 80s event once, so even though we are going to keep on end zoning for a while until one of us wins, you don't add any more. The event track is, done so. So, this snaps back to that. And, well, I mean, I played all my cards.
Did I get 2 or should I have had 3?
3. I played 3 after you folded. Okay. So, you get 3 more draws, and now you may buy. I can't buy anything because I played all my cards.
Okay, so I have 8. Hopefully, this can help. We have understanding aids.
That's the same as Larry Kramer, essentially. It's a different name, but the same card text does the same.
Then I'll take the ACT UP and the AIDS quilt.
Now I'm going first. And one of us just keeps going until we get to our magic number. So you're drawing 8.
So, yeah. So there's going to be some shuffling.
So just a quick rules clarification. When we demoralize, it's supposed to be random. You're not allowed to choose like you do for detaining. But...
Oh, the demoralization is just random?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I assume you're just supposed to, like, I don't know, fan them out, something, or just pick them blindly.
Well, that sucks.
So I think it's supposed to. Again, you can go to BGG and look at the official rules errata for these things. There's always, I don't know, it's just one of those games where there's always these little things that you get wrong, you know. Well, more judiciary bias. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I still have 2 law tokens there, so I can demoralize another person, and I guess it's random, so there goes Larry.
Wow.
It's like someone told you Christmas was canceled this year.
Christmas is canceled this year. All right. I'm going to play this LGBT awareness article again because I haven't gotten enough use out of it.
Notice you still haven't landed on one of my law tokens. That's funny. Okay. 3 on blue. 1, 2, 3. Lack of blood testing. The privatized blood banking industry ignored the CDC's pleas for years until it was conclusively proven AIDS was transmissible by blood. During that time, over 20,000 people got HIV through bad blood. If there are 3 or more AIDS deaths, which there are, I detain 2 more people. So, again, you can choose. Or is that random, too? Here,
the detaining would be from my discard pile, and I don't have one. So
then you take it randomly from the top of your deck.
Oh, God. Well, there goes the AIDS quilt, which I could really have used, and there goes the other AIDS quilt. So you're detaining these?
Yes. It does say you get to choose for detaining. It's supposed to be random for demoralizing, but, you know, whatever.
Well, but I didn't have any discard, so we had to...
Yeah, and so you have to take from the top of your deck, yes.
And you're getting, like, you've taken so many of my cards. I don't even have that many cards left.
That's right. So you better get to where you can roll those die.
Well, I would have if you would leave stuff alone, but you never do.
I'm unstoppable. Unstoppable evil.
That is true. What happens if I land on this one, demoralize one person?
Or move the Overton window up. If you land in your end zone, you move the Overton window up. Down by that number. I don't know what it's going to be.
You know what? I'm going to place I'm going to
do
Harvey. 1, 2, 3. And I get to place a retaliation die.
Oh, there's one left. I'll just do established practices.
See, and you just moved it out of reach. Just enough is what you're doing. It's like, no, there's almost no point in playing this card now because
you got plenty
it's not
of cards to play.
No, I don't. Right. I do not. But I do have this one.
You could wait for
So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Well, I'm going to fold.
Okay, I'm going to play Fauci again.
He's useful.
He gives me all the way to the end here. D10.
Nice. Wow. Oh, so now you're going to roll.
Yep.
Oh. Are you going to get it?
I hope this is
Because I'm just waiting for Dying in the Streets to come up. Because once I reshuffle, I have a feeling Dying in the Streets is going to come out.
I know. This is probably my one chance.
But we're still at less than 8, so I still think you're in pretty good shape. Oh my God. What is it?
Okay, that's 3 and 1 is 4. That's only 10 right there. 18.
It's 22. You need to move the Overton window down some more. Or get another die.
If I can.
Well,
that was the one card I played, so you get an extra little thingamajig.
Oh, that's right, because I folded.
I think now my values are doubled, right?
Yes.
So I'm gonna move this one up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
But then I am going to fold.
Okay. So I have 6, and I'm using 2 cards, so I'm going to be able to put it on the top of my deck. So I'm going to get that dying on the streets. So you can roll, see what it does for you.
I roll it right now.
Yep, immediately. And then if you get 26 or more, you will immediately win.
Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
You gotta pray to Satan.
Or what?
Or whoever. Pray to the rainbow gods.
Okay, 4 and 4, that's good. And that's 8. 8 and 8 is 16. That's 20. 24.
26.
26, 27.
You did it. Good job.
Oh my god.
And literally, I was about to pull out my dying in the streets. So, I didn't move this up by 3. 1, 2, 3. So I would have been able to end it on my very next turn if you hadn't rolled that right now. That close.
Yeah, and it was this close the last time we played it.
Yeah. And I was Pride. I also won. So it's very possible to win as Pride. But do you want to get into your thoughts on the game?
Just that, it's an educational game, which I hate to say that because
historical.
It makes it sound like, which it's very important. I do think that playing as Pride, I squeaked by and
it's
I won.
Tense. It's so tense. You have to work so hard, but it's very possible to do because it feels like the man stuff are overpowered, but they're only overpowered in the sense of bumping these tracks. I think it's a very, very balanced, right? So it's an asymmetric 2-player game. So let's talk about the mechanics a little bit. I think it actually is a fairly balanced game in the 2-player mode. So we played this solo. We've both played this solo several times.
I don't think you can really win unless it's just very...
So in the solo mode, you have an
lucky.
AI deck. And that AI deck, I agree, is super overpowered. Like, it's super hard. Not impossible, I think, but very, very difficult and really dependent on the luck of the draw in the solo mode. In the 2-player mode, there's all these interesting counterbalances. So every choice you make is really super impactful. And there's a couple of different strategies I think you can pursue. I think depending on which side you're playing. So I feel like for the man, I just need to wait till the 80s. Till I get, because the 80s cards are super. Once I start racking up those aid staffs, I can end it pretty quickly. Pride needs to buy a lot of cards in the 60s to give a good foundation to their deck. So for Pride, that deck building is super.
I know, and I didn't get off to a great start because the 60s
went fast.
by too fast for me.
Yeah, sometimes it's taken over half the game for us to get out of the 60s. So this time that went super fast, which I think made it, tight for you. But I think you started really catching up. I don't know if there was an exact point I could say where you started catching up. Once you started getting your Overton window a little bit more down and getting more die, I should have kept you from getting that die.
Did you when this was completed?
Oh, I never did our 80s thing.
I know, and we should have. Now, you could have...
Oh, I was supposed to detain 4 people. But if the Pride player has no more cards in their deck or discard, you win the game. Well, that was never true, because you still had... Like, if this had been empty, and you had no discard, and you just had a hand of 5 cards... then I would have won.
Oh, wow. Here's the thing. It's very real. I mean, I think we've seen in the last year, with the resurgence of all of this anti-gay stuff. And it's not just...
It's less historical and more topical at this point, unfortunately.
Is.
But it's a very sound game mechanically. It's not just historical and pedagogical. It's like a really good 2-player, head-to-head, tug-of-war game. If you really like asymmetrical 2-player games, especially, I think you'll really enjoy this one. And I think it's something that every straight gamer should have to play at least once. And have to play as both Pride.
Yeah.
Not as the man, as Pride. I think this is a game that can really give a great sense of empathy to somebody that's open to that experience. And it is a game that feels very much like an experience and not just a game. Like, I feel like it transcends just its
is
mechanics.
an experience because, as far as if you look at Pride, they're like things like self-respect, self-expression.
And actual people.
Lobbying, people, and they're spreading their message and their life. And with the man, it's just pure attack. It's exactly what we're seeing today. Basically, they're people spreading ideas that are rooted in their life and in their experience. And it's like, we want to share. Even Drag Queen Story Hour, it's like, whatever. Who knows what kids would get out of that? They probably wouldn't even think anything of it.
Sure.
But the point is that it's still positive because it's somebody doing something to share, like, their experience of living. The man is just nothing but evil. It is pure evil because every bit of it is an attack on somebody else and on their personhood. It is an attack on personhood.
You feel very aggressive when you're playing as the man, even if you're trying to softball it because you're like, ooh, I don't really want to win because that feels too dirty for you. I don't feel dirty necessarily. I see how people could, but I feel very much in that mindset of, yes, I'm going to beat you, and take you down.
Well, and it's always...
You can depersonalize it a little bit, but I think for some people it's going to be impossible for them to do that. And I think playing as a man could be very triggering for you if you've had a very traumatized upbringing, like with maybe having had a homophobic family. I do think that if you are going to play this game and you don't have a lot of severe trauma issues, I definitely highly suggest playing as the man once because it's such a different experience than
it
playing
is.
Pride.
But the thing with the man is that it's so anti-person. This is the thing that we're finding.
Well, you'll
more.
see the man's cards are very generalized. There's no specific historical people associated with any of my cards, unlike yours.
I know, and here's the thing. Having lived through this, I can say that it always was about narratives. It always was about telling a story. I think I mentioned like movies that I saw when I was a kid that had an impression because they spoke to me and made me feel not so alone. And if I hadn't seen that, the difference here is that the man is purely efficient. It's like the efficiency of a guillotine. Yes. That is what the man is. It is just like as unthinking as that sharp blade.
Unthinking and unrelenting.
Unrelenting. It's just one after the other. Release the blade,
So this is an incredibly thematic game. I don't know if you guys caught on to that. It's also a very mechanical game, and those two things are very interesting.
How they interact.
They are very integrated. It's very thematically integrated, which I think is very impressive.
Oh, it's a very impressive
I think
game.
I'll link below, again, to the interview that Liz Davidson of Beyond Solitaire did with the designer Taylor Schuss. It's just a fascinating interview, and everything he talked about, why he made his first game gay thing. Because as a gay man, he was asking himself, okay, I could be like every other Euro designer and design a game about the Mongolians or whatever. What story am I most qualified to tell? And I absolutely am so happy that this game exists, and I'm happy that it's a good game. And I really, really have nothing but not love, but just a deep passion for proselytizing for this game, because I think this is a game that every gamer, straight or gay, should play, because it's just an incredibly unique experience, and I think it could be an incredibly powerful one.
Yeah, and plus a lot of these names, like if you're gay, you probably
don't even know the history.
Yeah, you probably know who Larry Kramer is, but even at that,
I'd never heard of Larry Kramer before I was involved in a production of The Normal Heart. I had no idea who he was.
And a lot of names just
one of the most affecting experiences of my life working on that play. I literally was in tears during rehearsals of that play because it's just so affecting. Talking about the AIDS epidemic, and I know for some people just having AIDS deaths being a track in this game is just going to be triggering, and it's just going to be a deal breaker for them, which I respect and understand, but it is something that helps create that emotional buy-in.
There is so much emotion.
It's a roller coaster.
Yeah. When I saw Milk for the first time at the Castro Theater, you go in there in the theater, it was in the very that movie had me crying within the first 2 minutes of the film running, because it opens and it's just all these people being ushered into the paddy wagon, and one of
police
the cards
raids.
is police raids, and it's
on
like,
bars, which were a big
sounds
issue.
Like something like, oh wow, that is just like for a lot of people.
Literally being arrested for being gay in public. You know?
Right. until you really begin contemplate that as a reality, not just like, oh, this happened to some people long ago, but it could never happen again.
It's not that far in the past.
It's not that far in the past, and it could happen again. And I think that's one of the things that really was so effective. That was a wonderful movie, too. Gay people, you just need to keep on telling your stories because they're really beautiful. All these people that turned up here.
It's super inspiring. It's super, I think this game really feels like a celebration of how far we've come, but I think it's also kind of a warning for how easily we could slide back.
Yeah.
So I just think it's an incredibly important game, and I like that now game design is getting towards a place where it's not just all about fun all the time. We can have important pieces of art that tell something very important and are trying to communicate a message very strongly, which this game does. And obviously, as a gay channel and a gay couple, this is a game we knew we definitely wanted to do from the minute we made this channel. And we did talk about this game when it was on Kickstarter when we first started the channel. And it's taken us this long to get to it because we wanted to do it right. We still got a lot of rules wrong, which brings me to my only criticism of this game, but it's kind of a big one. This rulebook could use a little zhuzhing from a loving editor's hand. So I actually have compiled an unofficial errata FAQ that I posted on BGG that is a compiling of every single question people had asked on the forums, and there was a lot because most of the information is here, and the solo rules actually are a good way to cross-reference things. So if you're learning this game from the rulebook, definitely use the solo rules because there were two different people. So one person wrote 2-player rules and another person who we actually have met the person that wrote the solo rules. So this might be a little bit of bias. So just take that into consideration. The solo rules are helpful to kind of fill in some of the blanks. There's like these little details here and there that, tend to get a little lost in the shuffle. And we played this at least 7 times. And there's still kind of stuff we're still not quite internalizing. Like, oh, wait, when I demoralize, you're not supposed to pick it, you're supposed to do that, and making sure that we're resolving the event track in the right way. It's not a super complicated game if you played like a lot of deck builders and stuff. It's pretty straight ahead, which makes it a very accessible game. I think even a lot of teenagers
because it's not that hard. It's not a hard game to play. If
they're trying to learn it from this rulebook, this is not as accessible.
If this is your first game of a certain standard of play,
it's still medium weight.
But it's beyond. This is a little bit beyond like a family game type.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It could be a game that some gateway players could get into if they've played like Dominion and Magic and things like that.
Like if they played Dominion, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not trying to at anybody or drag people through the mud. I think just the situation with this, I honestly believe, is that they fulfilled this really quickly with the Kickstarter. I kind of feel like Catastrophe Games was almost not expecting it to successfully fund because they're like, we don't know if the gaming hobby is ready to support a queer-themed game. And turns out we are.
Oh, absolutely.
So I feel like maybe it got rushed to print a little bit, and maybe the rulebook didn't get quite the editing process that it should have. That's as gentle of a critique as I could possibly offer.
Hey, I want to say something, because if you're a gay person out there, the number one thing that I would hope you would learn from playing this game is to stand up for your brothers and sisters that are being oppressed.
Also, your trans brothers and sisters. I love so much that Marcia and Sylvia are in this game, and that they're really juicy cards that help you really well. So they are not only... Trans people aren't just included in this game, they're given a place of honor in the game, which I think is really great. So, a lot to unpack with this game. So I definitely say, as much as we love and are passionate about this game, this is not a game that I would spring on somebody casually at game night or convention. This is an experience that you really need to get someone on board with and prepare them, because it is going to be an emotional roller coaster no matter which way you slice it. I was worried before we got this game and it fulfilled from Kickstarter how heavy it would end up being. And the first time we played it, I was like, oh, this isn't totally triggering and traumatizing. It actually feels... Some things are sort of abstracted enough and it gives enough of that historical distance that I feel it's not too much, it's not too overwhelming emotionally. But you know, when you get into the 80s and when you start seeing that AIDS death track going up, it's a little...
Yeah, well, I knew people that died of AIDS and some very well.
Right, and that's
intimately.
why I really wanted us and you specifically to provide our perspective on this game, because you know, most of the people that have covered this game, I don't know that all of them have been straight. There have definitely been some queer content creators that have covered this game, but not a lot of 2-player playthroughs, and certainly not people that actually lived through this history as well, giving their sort of experience with the game. So I think that's something we can offer.
I had friends that were older when I was just coming out at 20. I mean, I had friends that were probably 20 years older than me. And almost all of them, the people that are older than me, like I grew up during the 60s, so I was very much a product of that. But if you grew up before that and you were gay in the 1950s and especially in the early 1960s, almost for sure you had to have therapy to try to fix you. There's certain things that I didn't have to experience just because I came along far enough down into this whole process to not have to go through that.
Homosexuality was still considered a mental illness back then. It wasn't called conversion therapy, it was just regular therapy. And if you found out that you liked boys, well, that meant that you were crazy or a deviant or something, or a pedophile. Sound familiar?
Sound familiar.
It's just it's so heavy, but I think more game designers shouldn't be afraid to take a risk like this, and more publishers also shouldn't be afraid to take a risk like this.
Who's the publisher?
Catastrophe Games.
I mean,
which they're mostly a war game publisher, so I think a lot of these kinds of issues with, like, you know, some of the components aren't the best, like these cubes are too big for the squares they're on, is one of my main usability issues.
There's some things that like that, but really
the little mats are nice.
They definitely,
and the art is great.
You know, should be given a pat on the back just for bringing it out.
I agree. And the dice are nice. You know, so I think the production actually, it's not like crappy or anything.
No, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah.
This S is so tiny though. So tiny. Yeah. So I think this is a game that will definitely it's never leaving our collection just because, hello, gay. But also, I think we really love 2-player games, and I think this is one I would keep in the rotation every now and again.
Oh, yes, and I'm going to make him play Pride next time.
To see me sweat.
Yes.
To see me get the palpitations.
I was getting the palpitations. You're about ready to have to get the smelling salts out.
So that was Stonewall Uprising. If you like what you see, don't forget to like.
And subscribe.
And also hit the what? The
notification bell.
Ding! Ding. And until next time, I'm Andy.
And I'm Rich.
And this has been Get Gaming. And remember to always be gay.
Do crime.
Don't get caught.
And
Get Gaming! Woo! Woo!